Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So you want to look at buying a Lexus because it's a great luxury brand, but you're not sure on the depreciation that you might experience. Well, we're here to tell you guys everything you need to know about Lexus depreciation. We're going to share with you where the optimal time is to buy in used versus new. We're also going to give you some examples of how much retention value you will experience after 10 years. We're also going to give you some examples and compare it to the industry standard. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Mark with exoticcarplayplace. And today, so we all work very hard for our dollars, and we want to stretch our dollars as far as they can go. But it's time, we're at that stage in our life where we appreciate a great luxury brand like Lexus that's finally crafted, and we feel that it's time to step up and indulge. So here we are, we're going to talk about Lexus and make sure that you can stretch and maximize the dollar in a purchase of a Lexus. So first, let's start out by saying the entire industry averaged out generally sees a depreciation rate of your average car. Depreciates 20% in the first year, 15% in the second year, 15% in the third, fourth, and so on. 15% up until you're at year 10, at which point the car now is sort of hit around 10% of its original MSRP. 10%. You think about that. You bought a $50,000 car in 2009. 10 years later, in 2019, that car on average in industry will only be worth about $5,000. Not worth a whole lot of money. So we're going to compare Lexuses to that industry standard. We're going to give you some great examples. So let's get moving into that. So Lexus are not exempt from depreciation in a fairly significant way, as well as any other brands. And so here we are in 2019, and you want to buy a car. Maybe you don't buy that brand new car because everybody knows depreciation hits hard when you buy it new. So the question is, what year model do you buy to maximize your benefit? Do you buy a 2018? Well, not really. Because according to this chart provided by usedfirst.com, it becomes pretty evident the older you go, the less the car costs. But there is also a breaking point. It doesn't just end with the depreciation. At what point do you buy in so you maximize the lifespan of that car? Because if you go too old, sure, you get a low-cost car, but then you get closer to the end of life for that car and you're faced with extensive repair bills. For example, you decide to buy a 2018, maybe a 2017, slightly used. Sure, you have the majority of the warranty. You also, unfortunately, still have the majority of the cost because it's still new enough. A lot of times they're just demos or just a year old with 10,000 miles, and of course the value holds quite strongly. So that's not the optimal place. 2016, you're getting there. The truth is, folks, 2015 is the optimal place right now to get into a market in 2019 today. Get in that car at about 4 years of age, 3 to 4 years of age. Where that puts you is a place where you get the maximum lifespan versus the maximum depreciation. So if you're buying into the marketplace, the 2015 model year today in 2019 is the place you want to be. It's going to give you the maximum value that puts you in a place where you're likely going to still have a lot of life left in that car, but you're not paying the majority of the value of that car. You are, in fact, in 2015, only going to pay approximately 56% of its original value. That is immense savings. But if you buy a 2015, often you still have the tail end of some warranty. You still have a long bunch of life left in that car, and that truly is the hump. 2015, currently right now, is the year that you want to buy into the market. If you want to maximize your profits, extend your dollars, but get the best value bang for your buck. So let's back all of this up with some examples. Let's start with a sporting version, an ISF. Any of the F version cars generally do very well for retention of value, but the ISF will talk specifically with its glorious high-revving V8 and 8-speed automatic transmission that was debuted essentially in 2007 and released in 2008 to the marketplace. It is an awesome machine to drive, really spectacular. It was really created to counter the attack by the BMW M3. It did a great job too, by the way, real performance machine. Now that car, when it was new, MSRP ranged, but the average price for it was about $60,000 US. And now scouring the Auto Trader, doing a broad search, finding a whole host of different cars around 2008 anywhere from 50 to 80,000 miles, in that range, and sometimes even the higher mile cars are going for similar dollars. The average that I found was about $25,000. Some, of course, more, some, of course, less. And that retention value now, because it's an '08, 10 years later, is holding at 42% of its original value. That's almost half of its original value after 10 years. That's an exceptional retention, a minimal depreciation rate, so that was always a good purchase. Okay, so enough about sports. Maybe you want something more versatile. How about an SUV? How about a 2008 RX 350? Great SUV. Not necessarily the least problematic of the Lexuses, but a very versatile, reliable car nonetheless. And so here now in 2019, we look back at a car that's about 10, 11 years of age with 50, 60,000 miles, still relatively low miles, and we're finding them from $15,000 to $16,000 US, which is actually about 42% of its original MSRP. How is that for retention? That to me sounds like it's also seen minimal depreciation, another safe bet. Okay, scrolling right along, maybe you want something a little different, a little more luxury. How about an LS 460? Those have a lot of luxury going for it, a lot of features, a lot of comfort, really one of their mainstream cars that people love to just cruise in. So how much is it for an LS 460? Well, let's start out by saying they averaged a MSRP back in 2008 of about $65,000. The range was $62,000 to $72,000, but at $65,000, they were already becoming quite a hefty price tag for one of these. Now, generally, as you know, particularly in the BMW and Benz and Audi worlds, often what happens in a lot of the premium luxury car brands is the more expensive and higher end flagship type cars, when new, they end up seeing much heavier depreciation along the way. They become less desirable because of the extensive maintenance costs associated with them. But that is not entirely true in the LS 460, where you can find a used one for about $22,000 to $24,000 US still today for a 2008 versus that $65,000 price tag when it was new. What does that all translate to? How about 37% retention value after 10 years? Still not bad considering the market value average is 10%. At 37%, it's still holding over a third of its original value. Okay, you want one more? Okay, how about a 2008 Lexus ES350? So this is slightly downscale from the LS models. The ES, for example, retailed from a range of about $34,000 to about $50,000 new in US funds. So the average is about $40,000. But that being said, used with reasonable miles, again 50 to 70,000 mile range, lots and lots of them for about 15 grand. So 15 grand out of the original 40 puts these at a retention value of about 37%. Not bad, again over a third of its original MSRP. Not bad for a car 10 years of age. Still, you know there will be a fair amount of reliability built into these cars, as Lexus generally are fairly reliable. You know that you can buy a car like that with peace of mind, even if you decide to hold on to it for 10 years. So you buy a 2015 now in 2019, and you hold on to that for another 6 or 7 years. That takes you to the 10-year mark. After that point, it's a wash. It doesn't matter. Depreciation doesn't really play a factor anymore. But you know that you haven't lost a lot of money. From 2015 to 2008, in a 7-year span, you may only shave 25% of its value, original value. Not bad for about a 7-year run now, is it? So all in all, Lexus proves to be a very great brand. We know they're reliable, we know they're well made, and they're somewhat sought after if you're picking up the right model. At the end of the day, Lexus is a great brand, and if you want a good, reliable car that hasn't suffered extreme depreciation, the Lexus brand is a great place to start. Thanks again, everybody. I'm glad you really joined along. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a line below, give it a thumbs up, share it on social media and with your friends. And again, of course, if you're not a subscriber, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, as well as that notification bell. Lets you guys know when the next great video is out. Hope to see you guys soon. Love to catch you the next time. See ya. Bye-bye.